As I mentioned before, our life in Ms. Nikolaevna's apartment improved. Everything was fine for a few days. But one night, a couple of hours after we went to bed, it started again. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard that knocking sound. The same one that made me move in with the neighbor until I could sell my apartment. Fear gripped me again as I lay there in the dead silence. I could hear my heartbeat and the knocking on the front door. It was strange that the sound got louder and softer. But why wasn't Nikolaevna waking up? Marina, am I the only one hearing this, or am I losing my mind? A thought crept into my head. Maybe the problem wasn't the apartment at all. But if not, what was it? And what should I do with these thoughts? I lay motionless in bed, the knocking continuing. It only stopped when there was a loud bang on the door, and I heard Nikolaevna waking up in the next room. The light came on in the hallway, and she walked toward the entryway. I heard her close the door. Wait. This was the same thing happening again. And again, I felt that weakness creeping in. It was terrifying. My mouth was dry and I was scared to get up. I was afraid that the thing was standing somewhere in the hallway, just waiting for me to walk right into its clutches. As I said before, Nikolaevna was a very religious woman. Her apartment was filled with icons, holy books, and crosses. She took one of the icons from the shelf in the corner of the room where my bed was, and went to the kitchen with it. I hoped that nothing would happen, and that the icon would protect me. If you're wondering why we haven't moved, it's simple. We have nowhere to go. No money, no friends, no family. I thought maybe the church could help. But the church, it's just a business, nothing more. But that's beside the point. I headed to the kitchen with the icon. Nikolaevna's apartment was a 3-bedroom with a long hallway. As soon as I stepped out of the room, I heard hurried footsteps near the front door, followed by a loud slam, as if someone had run out. The horror I felt was indescribable, and the worst part? I had no idea what it was or how to stop it, but it seemed like the icon had scared it off. I filled a cup with water, quenched my thirst, and went back to bed. My mind was racing with thoughts, and I couldn't sleep for a long time. Eventually, I drifted off, only to be woken by the alarm. Time to get Marina ready for school. After waking Marina, I went to the kitchen to make breakfast. Nikolaevna had woken up too and joined us for breakfast. This time, she also complained of feeling weak and tired, though she attributed it to her old age. Then she asked me, "Svet, did someone come to see you last night? A man came asking for you." "Who?" I asked. She replied, "Just some guy. Looked ordinary, sporty clothes, short hair, and a big mole under his left eye. That mole caught my attention right away." My heart sank. Sergei had a mole and short hair, and he always wore track pants, never jeans or slacks. I couldn't take it anymore. "Nikolaevna, this might sound strange, but that sounds like my husband." "What do you mean?" "You said he died." "Exactly," I exclaimed. Nikolaevna's face changed. Her smile and cheerful mood vanished. Everything that had happened in my apartment, all the strange occurrences I had told her about, was happening again. She said, "Maybe he didn't die. Maybe he got lost or went on a drinking binge and showed up now. But how could he not be dead? There was a funeral. I saw them lower him into the ground." She dismissed my fears with, "Don't worry. The apartment is protected from evil spirits. Everything will be fine. Just say the Lord's Prayer before bed and sleep with a peaceful heart." "Okay, I'll lie down for a bit. I'm not feeling well," she said, grabbing a cup of tea and a few cookies before heading to her room. I prepared to go to work, trying to push all these strange thoughts out of my head. I considered moving back to my own apartment, but I felt safer here with Nikolaevna and her icons. The workday passed quickly, but I dreaded going home. I didn't want to, but I had to. My child and Nikolaevna were waiting for me. When I arrived, I felt a rare sense of peace. It was something I hadn't experienced in a long time. Nikolaevna had baked pies, and she and Marina were watching cartoons together, laughing. It felt good, and I finally relaxed. But that peace didn't last long. As soon as we went to bed, the knocking started again, much louder this time. Anxiety and fear returned, gripping every part of my body like sharp needles. But this time, I wasn't the only one who heard it. Marina woke up immediately, and within a couple of minutes, the light in Nikolaevna's room came on. Nikolaevna got up again and went to the door. I heard her cursing loudly and then slamming the door shut. She turned off the light in the hallway and returned to her room. The apartment plunged into darkness, and I began to drift off to sleep. I woke up to the alarm again. I got Marina ready for school and went to call Nikolaevna for breakfast. But when I entered her room, I slid down the wall and grabbed my head in horror. Nikolaevna was lying in her bed, dead. And, horrifyingly, a metal Orthodox cross, the one that hung above the front door, was sticking out of her forehead. Her pillow was soaked with blood, and I nearly threw up. What should I do? Call the police? But knowing how our authorities work, they definitely blame this on me. No question about it. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, I noticed that every single icon in the apartment had either fallen off the walls or was lying face down on the shelves. I spent about 20 minutes gathering all my belongings and left the apartment. What should I do? Where could I go? I was completely lost and overwhelmed. What was that thing lying next to me? I was sure it was her. Why me? Why did it latch on to me? And what did it want with Nikolaevna? Was it because she cursed at it? I couldn't make sense of any of it, and the feeling of helplessness weighed heavily on me, mixing with the sheer terror of recent events. I had no choice but to return to my apartment. I felt a deep guilt over Nikolaevna's death, and it was eating me alive. I was in a terrible state, and the fatigue never went away. All I wanted to do was sleep. When I got back to my place, I told myself that if the police came, I'd just say I didn't know anything. But what should I do now? After dragging the few of Nikolaevna's belongings that I had with me back to my apartment, I took a shower. It was already getting dark, and Marina was still at after-school care until 6 p.m. While I was in the shower, I heard the door open and saw the light come on in the hallway. Marina's home, I thought. More than anything, I wanted to keep my daughter safe, but I didn't know how to do it. When I stepped out of the bathroom, I saw Marina standing in the hallway. Something wasn't right. Her face looked off. She was unnaturally pale. "Sweetie, what's wrong? Why aren't you talking?" I asked. But she just stood there, silent, staring at me. This wasn't like her at all. Normally, when she got home from school, she'd come running to hug me and then rush to the kitchen for a snack. But today, nothing. Just standing there, staring. Then it hit me. First, Sergei came back. He was dead, and yet he knocked on the door because we weren't in our own home. What if Marina? What if she wasn't really Marina anymore? I quickly grabbed the cross the priest had given me 4 days ago and clutched it in my hand. Marina's face changed, her eyes turning completely black. I realized that this wasn't her. It was that thing again. But where was my daughter? I slowly backed into the bedroom, the same room where I had first encountered it. Marina, or whatever it was, stood still in the hallway with those black eyes and a creepy grin. I even thought about escaping through the balcony. I didn't care anymore. I glanced at the mirror, and there it was, the creature from before, standing in the doorway behind my bed. It didn't bother hiding itself this time. It was the same being that had been lying next to me in bed 4 days ago. It made strange, indecipherable sounds, a mix of whispers and clicking noises, and it was getting closer. I clutched the cross tightly, and after that, I don't remember what happened. The next thing I knew, I was being woken up by police officers around 11 a.m. They had arrived in response to a call, but my condition worsened when they told me why they were there. Marina's body had been found in the stairwell near the basement. She was dead, her neck twisted. I broke down in tears. I can't even describe how terrifying it was. I had lost my child, my everything. Why should I go on living? When I finally managed to get up, I looked at myself in the mirror and was horrified. My face was completely wrinkled, like I had aged from 35 to 80 overnight. I fainted again. The next time I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. A detective, or whoever he was sitting by my side. I told him everything, every single detail. I couldn't hold it in anymore. But he didn't believe me. He didn't take anything I said seriously. Before long, they put me in a mental institution. I'm writing this from here. They think I'm crazy and that I'm making all this up. But I swear, I know what really happened. I saw it with my own eyes. That thing killed Nikolaevna and my daughter. Why did it leave me alive? To torment me? No, I won't let it. This note was found by psychiatric hospital staff. Svetlana had slit her wrists with a sharpened piece of metal.
If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Together we can take this channel to the next level, and don't forget to check out this video.